Greetings, everyone. My name is Marco Dupa. That right there is Drunk Dave Romero.
Sleepy Dave.
And that right there is Adam Obesius Rodriguez. And tonight's beer is the Nightcat Hoppy Dark Wheat Beer from the Two Brothers Brewing Company from Warrenville, Illinois. It sounds delicious. And this right here is the One Beer In Podcast.
No. You got him a thumb.
All right, let's taste, boys.
Yes, let us taste.
Let us taste.
It's good. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, it's a clean taste.
It's decent.
Yeah.
It's very
I
decent.
usually don't like wheat beers, but the hoppy.
Yeah, it makes it almost taste like a IPA.
It's very light IPA-ish.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not a fan of wheat beers and lagers, right?
No, I like lagers.
You like lagers? I specifically remember you telling me.
Yeah, you always stay away
Fuck
from
off,
lagers.
lager.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Generally.
I don't like pilsners.
I remember you.
Hefeweizens.
I remember you staying away from lagers in particular
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, that's too much like Miller and Bud Light.
That may have been a
Lager
while
is
ago.
like the original flavor of beer.
Yeah.
That might have been a while ago.
It was. Yeah. It was.
Maybe.
It wasn't recent.
I've just been under the impression that you
No,
always.
I'll drink a lager.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Lager.
good to know. Good
Next
to know.
one is the lager then.
Rating on this beer?
Out of how many Mickeys?
We're not doing the Mickey rating.
It's not.
We'll get
I mean,
sued.
it's not extraordinary, but it's definitely delicious. I mean,
Yeah.
I would,
I gave it a 3.5
yeah.
out of 5.
Out of 5.
Yeah.
Mickey's.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Good
that's
vibe.
about right for me too.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
3.5. Here.
So this isn't run out and buy it as soon as you can. It's if you see it, pick it up. It's
Yeah.
delicious. You'll enjoy it.
True.
Good job, Dave.
Mm.
Today is episode 3.
We'll say that. Yeah,
Yeah,
give or take.
episode 3.
Whatever.
I'll go with that. And tonight is the special edition, spoiler-filled,
Oh, yeah.
True Detective discussion.
Right. So if you've not seen the finale,
Yeah, if you're
Please
if you're
stay
watching True Detective and you haven't been caught up and you're watching it on HBO Go or HBO On Demand, any of that, then you probably should put this on pause indefinitely until you finish that, because this is going to be spoiler filled.
Yeah. Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to talk about everything that we can remember, and we're going to look up some stuff that we can't remember.
there's a lot
So,
of names in that show.
Yeah,
We're going to tell you who
everything-
dies,
Everyone, yeah, who dies, who
has
doesn't
sex
die.
with who.
Yeah, and there's some good sex scenes and everything. So if you're not watching it, I mean, if you are watching it and you need to catch up, you should do that before you listen to this.
And
So
if you aren't watching it, then you need to.
Yeah,
we'll give you a couple
no.
seconds.
Finish
Ready?
it as soon as possible.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Good enough.
If you're still here, get ready. What's a good place to begin?
The end.
And then go
That's-
backwards.
That's really like
No,
very
okay, all right, all
It's
right.
very Tarantino.
Where did you? I guess. When did you hear about it, and what interested you about it? Like what? Like the show
The show
itself. Like
itself.
when you
Oh,
heard.
right.
Oh,
What
yeah.
made you go, fuck, let's fucking watch that? That looks,
Right.
you know, what differentiated it from like any other cop show on TV, you know?
I never heard of it until you guys talked
Right.
about it. And then I went home, I was like, all right, all of you like it
It's true.
in the
Yeah.
group chat. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll check it out. And then I threw it on, and it's like a ride-along drama of cops.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing that got me into it was I knew that Boardwalk Empire was about to end,
Right.
which I've been following since basically day one. So I'm kind of upset that it's ending. It's fine that it is, but I need something to replace that.
Mm-hmm.
So I need something, in the meantime. And also, I've kind of fallen out with Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's,
yeah,
everyone, you don't even really watch it anymore.
no, David stopped watching it, but
Yeah.
I
I mean, I still watch it because, like I said, it's something to do with Nicole on Sundays.
Whoops.
your girlfriend.
Yes. Anyway. Just, I don't, anyway. But yeah, it's something to still watch.
Right.
But it's not. I mean, we've discussed it, and we can discuss it at length at another time. But
Mhm.
Walking Dead basically is not really. It's not what it used to
We'll make that its own topic.
Yeah,
though.
definitely. That's something that deserves its own. Yeah,
for sure. But anyway, the main thing was that I needed basically a placeholder for Sunday nights.
Yeah.
And I don't have HBO, but I use HBO Go, so I figured that was a good shot at something.
You could have watched anything else if you for HBO Go. Because it's on demand.
That's true, but like, there's nothing else on HBO that really catches my eye. I've been through a bit of Sopranos. I've kind of gotten as far as I want to with that.
Have you watched Band of Brothers?
Yeah. I have.
You watched it? Oh yeah, you have the fucking.
I have the DVDs of Band of Brothers.
Have I watched it? I've already from it for a while.
I think you've seen it enough.
Yes.
And then there's the Pacific 2, which is also awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like I've seen a lot of what's already in sort of the past of HBO.
Yeah.
That I wanted to anyway. I got through The Wire, which is fantastic too. Mm-hmm. But this had sort of the high caliber characters, the actors I knew already. Like, even before seeing it, I figured that these guys were going to own their roles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those, stereotypical HBO shows, which means gonna be high quality,
right?
And
how about you though? Like,
I had when I got Bright House, I convinced my parents to get HBO. I mean, it was the last stand. I already got them to get the 60 megabits, and then I convinced them to let me, because I told them I would pay for the NFL Red Zone.
Right.
So
right.
I convinced them of that.
Yeah, are you? That's just way too expensive.
Psst, not paying for it. And then my last stand was, please get HBO. I want to watch HBO. So when they got that, obviously it's one of their new shows. Yeah. So I mean, there was just every time I turned on.
That was another thing I have to tell you.
It was all over the place.
I saw the advertisements really early on, and I saw the actors, and I said, wow, this is like Hollywood caliber actors that are in this. So
as soon as I heard who was in it, like you said, like long time ago,
right.
like months ago, before it even premiered, as soon as I heard who was in it, I was like, well, that at least deserves. Excuse me, at least deserves one episode watch.
Yeah.
Because, just
give it the benefit of the doubt at least for that sort of the cast.
Because Woody Harrelson, we've already talked about it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Woody Harrelson. Like, everything he's done, I think he's like one of the coolest actors ever, in my opinion. I love
best, but coolest.
Not the best,
right?
Because he kind of plays the same dude in most of the stuff he does. For the most part, he kind of plays the same guy, but definitely one of the coolest fucking guys I've ever seen in a movie.
So you'd say he's more of like a character actor?
Yeah. And he like one character, or like three characters.
Okay.
But Woody Harrelson, like Bill Murray, Philip Seymour, Paul Giamatti, these guys I put in like this other class of just like fucking cool motherfuckers who just
the highest echelon of cool actors,
right?
Guys who you wouldn't think are cool, but
they make that. Yeah, there's like a coolness factor to them, which is And then Matthew McConaughey, I was really down on. I think everybody here was pretty much down on him, except for recently. His run, I think everybody's been talking about his run that he's been on.
Yeah.
And
he's been on hot streak.
And this kind of culminates, and like I said in the group chat, I really think he's going to get an Emmy, or at least an Emmy nod for this show.
I've heard some things, and that sounds good to me, but the thing is, are they considering Breaking Bad within this Emmys?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So
that final season is gonna be a huge. It's gonna be hard to beat that final season.
Bryan Cranston.
Breaking Bad.
Yes,
that's Breaking Bad. Yeah, that
gay porn spin.
That's what I was gonna say. Yep. Wrong.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard to beat. But I will say this: the fact that season 4
actor that plays Walt in the gay spinoff is Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Season 4 of Breaking Bad, I thought it was going to be hard to beat.
Right.
But it got beat.
You think so?
On almost everything. Mad Men, or no, I'm sorry. Who won for Best Actor? I think it was Homeland. Some guy won for Best Actor. And then the only thing that Breaking Bad won was
supporting.
It's supporting actress and best drama, but it didn't get best supporting actor or best actor. It didn't get either one of those. Right. I thought it was gonna clean up. Season 4, I thought it was gonna fucking clean up.
Yeah,
and it didn't. So I don't know.
But maybe they'll give it to him this run.
But you've still got Mad Men. You've got True Detective, which is getting a lot of press, a lot of buzz. People are talking about it, probably because it's the most recent thing.
Yeah,
but people are talking about it. Homeland is still there.
Yeah.
What the hell's Homeland?
Homeland is it's a series that like I haven't invested into personally, but apparently my brother watches it and he loves it. And a lot of people love that show and say it's one of the best shows on TV. It's on Showtime?
Yeah.
Right? So it's on Showtime.
Which, I mean, none of us have Showtime. That's the reason none of us watched it. It's not, that's the problem with those shows like that. Yeah. They get all this buzz and all this critical acclaim, but it's like, if you put them on these networks that people can't access, I'm not going to fucking download Homeland.
Well, at least
you got to bring me in. Like with True Detective, you bring me in with its reputation and with the actors. Right. If you've got a bunch of unknown actors and then tell me it's good, it's like, yeah, well, I'll take your word for it. And that's it.
And that's what happens. But the way that they're trying to market that is that Homeland is so good that you need to get Showtime for it, which isn't happening. But at the same,
because there's nothing else that Showtime offers.
Dexter's gone, right?
So what else do they got? Banshee's on Cinemax.
Yeah.
What else?
They're trying to come out with new stuff, but Homeland's basically their main honing show that they want to pull people in with.
I can't think of anything else.
So
on
do they have that show with Mark Hamill or whoever the hell guy that looks like Mark Hamill? He's not Mark Hamill. He's homeless. He's got like a
William H. Macy.
Yeah.
Broke.
Shameless. That's right.
Because a Louis C.K. special is the same name as that. Every time I see
every
time I see it, I'm like, is that Louis C.K.? And then I look, and it's like, fuck, that's the TV show. Fuck, I wanted to watch his special. But yeah, that show is another one of their flagship shows that's supposed to get a lot.
It's been getting a lot of praise.
When I had Showtime, when I was with DirecTV, I watched it. I watched like 3 episodes of Shameless, and it was pretty good. A lot of sex.
Greg told me good things about it. He's seen it before.
Yeah,
he got into the show.
It doesn't look bad. So I mean, Showtime's got those 2 things going for it.
I think
it's still not enough. HBO has got that reputation now with what you said. Boardwalk Empire's going off, but they still had it. Then Game of Thrones.
The thing is,
True Detective.
Think about their pedigree at this point. It all started with Sopranos. Right?
True Blood.
All started with Sopranos. They had True Blood.
True Blood is on there.
Boardwalk Empire.
Entourage.
Sex in the City. Sex in the City. It was huge.
I mean, HBO fucking owns that arena of TV shows.
And Netflix is trying to become that.
Yeah, probably. I can see HBO being like, oh, it's time to drop another series? Okay.
Right.
Throw some money in there. Right. We'll figure it out.
I mean, and that's kind of what it like. True Detective was like, oh, we need to. Okay, all right, we'll hire 2 of the best actors we can find.
Well, who's popular now?
Because like even like Michelle Monaghan, she's in it.
Yeah,
she's actually getting a pretty good reputation right now. And then I think the rest of the cast is kind of, I wouldn't say unknown, but
I think they're all character actors basically.
Yeah, the guy. So this is where having the names comes in. The guy who plays the preacher.
Oh yeah, he was in Boardwalk Empire.
He's
Tuttle.
Yes,
that's right. He becomes an alcoholic later on.
Right, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay, so the way that I was thinking about going about this was that we would talk about first the things that we didn't really like about it, and then go in on the praise, and because I'm gonna assume that all of us universally agree that it was a great show, currently is a great show. It's gonna continue on, but this season in particular was very well done.
It was a very great start. If that's the tone and the direction they're going in,
right?
Great start. Yeah.
So
out the gate.
Let's talk a little bit about what were some of the shortcomings of it.
Okay.
If you have any, I mean,
I guess the first thing that we can talk about is the most obvious thing. Is my beef with my beef with the
cheating.
The cheating. And I guess the more that it went on, and the more that you guys talked about it. And the more that you kind of, I will admit, you kind of convinced me against being so. Well, I had to
explain your case first.
Okay,
Why did you not like whatever?
What happened in the show was Hart's character, played by Woody Harrelson. He's one of the 2 detectives, one of the true detectives. Right? No? Okay. So his character is. One of his biggest character flaw is that he throughout the show he shows this sensitivity and this guardedness this
I can see your biggest flaw.
this just he really defends women. Weakness, children,
because women. He has 2 girls.
Right, exactly. So he has that family, and that when things happen to women and when it happens to children, those things really affect him in a different way than they do Cole.
Well, no, not even though, because Cole lost his daughter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is they both feel it in a way, but Cole internalizes it.
Yeah. Well, they have different ways of expressing it.
Right. Hart expresses it outright with violence and anger, and
he can't control himself.
Right. So there's that, but then there's the dichotomy, which is his misogyny.
Yeah.
And everything, like, you know, his cheating ways and just the fact that, I mean, he kind of views women as a lower class. You can see it in the way that he treats his wife, and you can see it in the way that he goes after the secretary, and you can see it in the way that he views her as his property,
right?
And that's why he gets angry when she
is dating.
You know, there's the other guy, and he busts in, and he's drunk, and he doesn't really beat the shit out of him, but he throws him through the closet door, and because he sees her as his own property, like you can't. She's mine,
right? So even though he's married,
it's just a very interesting dichotomy, and that aspect of it I liked when I first started watching the show. Episode 1. You already know going in, like, that's gonna be his flaw. Like, that's it. You don't really get Cole's, like, Matthew McConaughey's character. You don't get Cole's flaws. What goes against him? You don't get those until like episode 3, when you start to see like the cracks in the armor, the chinks in the armor. You start to see like, but with Hart, you see them immediately.
Day 1,
it's like episode 1 before it's like 45 minutes in, you see it. It's like fucking.
You know, the thing is, I feel like whether they meant to or not, we're kind of supposed to be in Hart or Marty's shoes from the beginning, because he's the most relatable character.
Right.
He's not the one that...
He's the most down to earth. And in those first episodes, they established the character. I think the misogyny and the like you said, he's protecting women thing all has to play into the finale of it, where his main motivation for going after this guy, like, he has no more ties to this. He doesn't have to help Rust. He doesn't have to do anything. Rust shows him the video, and then he has motivation for it.
That's motivation. That's the catalyst that gets him back in the game.
Right.
But it makes him look at, I guess, his whole relationship and his whole family. He knows that, you know, this is going to be dangerous. He goes back to his wife or his ex-wife, and he sees his daughters and everything.
Right.
And he pretty much says goodbye because he doesn't know what's going to happen.
It's so perfect how they did that too, because you feel that connection with them still.
Oh yeah.
You know?
They still care about each other. You know it. And even when Russ goes, you know, she came by the bar. That you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because he told her, like, hey, I'm working with Russ again.
Yeah.
You know? And then afterwards, even when, like, it was very much look into who Martin Hart was when he's in the hospital after that whole. And he's talking about the finale. He goes, I'll be fine, and then he starts crying.
Yeah, he breaks down, because the thing is, the way that I interpreted that scene was that he saw everything that he gave up to make that case.
Right.
You know, he saw, because, you know, without that being in the way, and without him being that, you know, hard-nosed detective that feels like he needs to be a misogynist and needs to cheat in order to get the stress out, and all those excuses that he had for his job. Without all that, he could have had that family still.
Yeah. Right.
And he saw everything that he gave up in order to make that happen.
Right. He's sitting in that hospital thinking, like, all this I could have had.
This could have been me.
Had I not
this could have been my life.
Person.
Right.
Right.
So he got a glimpse of that, and it's like momentarily seeing heaven.
Right.
Which is it's perfect. And that's
with Cole, the way he,
which
I want to talk about that later.
Okay.
That's a huge thing that we need.
We'll sidebar
that. That's big.
Weird
universe thing
that's a big thing. We'll talk about that. But to go back to you know, my feelings about it,
as far as your
as far as how I interpreted it in the beginning, was that I was watching a show that was different from any cop show that I had watched in recent memory anyway. And I guess I held it to a higher standard as far as the storylines that they were going with. And the way I should have been looking at it was, this is a noir cop show. Right. We're going to touch on familiar tones and familiar themes.
Right.
We're going to touch on them. We're going to use them to tell a better story than anyone else has told. And that's how I wasn't looking at it like that. I was looking at it like, they're gonna go and they're gonna do things that I've never seen before.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, it's 2014. They've been making cop shows for
forever.
You can't really look at TV shows and go
Law and Order, CSI,
Right.
and
NYPD Blue.
and not and
taking it real far.
I remember NYPD Blue.
You take that amount of TV shows and then you think like, okay, there's like 130 episodes of SVU just by itself. Just by itself.
That
There's-
offshoot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a spinoff
Right.
of there's Criminal Intent, Law and Order the original, there's the British one, and there's just 130 in just one spinoff. Then you
Right.
got CS. So there's not really many topics and themes that can be original. It's just the way that you take those topics, and make them original.
Yeah.
And go about them in a way that is original or innovative.
Right.
And I didn't see it that way at first. At first, I was looking at it like, this show is so good, except for the glaring weakness that is this subplot that I didn't like.
It's the genre I feel like you had the problem with. And I tried to...
I don't think he had a problem with the genre. I just don't think he knew what the genre was going to be.
Right. What they were going for with the genre itself.
Right.
I didn't see it. When I watched the first episode, I didn't think noir cop.
Yeah, that's definitely not. Because when I think noir, I think black and white.
Right. I think hard-broiled.
Yeah, like old
fucking
60s era.
That's how I see it. Right. I didn't exactly. So when you first watch it, you're like, okay, they're going in. This is something that's different. It's new. They're in the bayou.
I would say that this show is a Southern Gothic noir.
Right. That's what you get when you get into episode 2 and 3. You start to that's a perfect description.
Right.
That's what you get when you start to get into it more, and you're like, okay, that's kind of what they're going with this.
Right.
Now I see what they're doing.
You definitely don't think it's like a noir detective movie because every single noir detective movie is in a city. It's in like a an old rundown kind of city.
And and
a lot of rain.
And but the thing is, there are these themes as far as noir goes that you have noir stories that are told in the city because that's the theme of city's bad, country's good.
Right.
A country girl comes to the city, gets killed, and the detective needs to find out what happened.
Right.
This is spinning it on its head in, like making this sort of country bayou environment being as hostile as, 1920s Brooklyn or whatever, Right. But the thing is, I always saw that theming as just the vehicle of telling this story that they wanted to tell, basically, which is a more enlightened story than just a typical noir story of these are hard times for this guy. Let's watch him try and fail, basically.
And I didn't, I thought that there would be some character development, but I had no idea that the character development would be so extensive in just a short amount of time. I mean, the show spanned 8 episodes, and the people that they are and the people that they become are almost two different people. The development is so extensive and so in depth.
But the thing that they do different in order to get that is that they don't. It's not a short period of time. You start the story off in 1995,
right?
And then what?
It's more than a decade.
19 years later, you're in the present day.
Right.
So of course these people have aged and matured and changed who they are for at least the most part,
and for better or for worse.
Right. Like what was Russ doing his whole life when that happened? He was working in that bar.
Yeah.
Became a bartender,
Right.
And Hart is still
a private eye.
But he's still kind of. I mean, you kind of look at like the decisions that he made in his youth have created the life for him that he leads now. He's got the beer belly and he's eating TV dinners all night and like all he does
made
is
his
watch
bed.
TV.
He made his bed. He's laying in it now. That's what it is.
Exactly.
But so I guess to bring it back. That I guess I wasn't looking at it in the proper light. When I first started watching the TV show, I was so enthralled by, first of all, the acting. I mean, just to get that out the way right now, the acting is incredible. Every single actor on the show just knocks it out of the park. There's not one person you go,
there's not one
what are you
link,
doing?
Yeah.
Right, not one person. Co-stars, kids, the women.
Everything that happens or that happens as a direct result of the character is completely within that character's thought process. Like when Russ gets that sheriff's car shot up.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
he goes, you think I'm more of a talker or a doer? He doesn't even look him in the eye when he says that. Sniper just unloaded on that Maserati.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't blink an eye.
Right.
He lit a cigarette while he was saying it. You think I'm a talker?
So fucking cool.
And completely within Russ.
Right, exactly.
And
so within
how does Mark react?
how he and right,
he
exactly.
Like, you know what it is? He's like, what the fuck are you doing? But he goes with it.
Exactly. And it's so perfect. Like that's how those two guys, if we knew them in real life, that's how they would react. That's how they paint these two dudes. So it's perfect.
Can I tell you the truth? The thing is,
no, lie to us.
Okay, well, in that case, I can't say what I'm going to say. But the thing is, this is a story that I took as a love story between those two characters
and their friendship,
Marty and Russ.
Right.
They're like, they had their romances
very complicated
throughout their, the entire show and the entire plot. But the thing is, it was between those two guys.
Right.
That was it. They were brothers, and that's what the show hinged on, was their two characters colliding and coming together to make it happen.
Right.
Because
the show itself is, like I said, it was only 8 episodes long. So their conflict was it was revealed what happened with them in episode 6, I think. What happened between them. And then the next episode, we flash forward to present day, because the entire show for the first 5 episodes is told in past tense. They're retelling the first case, the big case, the big thing that all this hinges on.
Right, in the 90s.
So that's past tense, and then episode 6 or episode 7 is when they bring it to present tense. So you get this these almost 2 decades that pass.
There's a middle time,
in 8 episodes.
There's a middle time though that happens 2006.
But and all that is not told.
Russ
that's
reopens
all
the case.
Right.
Oh no! It was earlier than that. It was like 2002 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
That's when he comes back. That's when he comes back.
He visits that old lady. She loses her shit.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He tries to investigate it again.
But what I'm saying is, like, almost 2 decades pass in the amount of 8 episodes, which is a long time to.
It's a long time frame.
In only, for any other show, that's half a season. That's not even a full season of TV shows. Right. I mean, even at an hour long, I mean, Breaking Bad was an hour long, and it's still 13, 14 episodes. So 8 episodes, technically, True Detective is a miniseries. Technically.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 episodes, that's half a season.
I think that's how they kind of...
that's how they're talking about it. It's a miniseries. So,
but I think what helped them speed up the story in the sense that we still got it was that they didn't sit down and dumb it down for us, like, hey, Martin and Russ are having problems.
Right.
There's a little bit of tension or anything, or there was no talking about feelings. It was almost very manly, like very macho. Like we don't talk about our feelings. We just kind of infer them.
Well,
very much for guys kind of thing.
It played the best thing in cinema, which I appreciate, is that it didn't tell, it showed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. Like, you really had to pay attention. Like, when I first watched the first couple of episodes, I had to go back and watch a few because they're like, I was texting on the phone or I was chatting with something and I missed
not a show you can do that with.
And I didn't understand it in the next episode, so I had to go back because I knew I missed it.
Yep.
Because what they do, they introduce so many minor characters that are very important to the story. That if you're, like you said, if you look down for a second, they'll talk about a character, and if you look up and you're like, wait, who the fuck is that?
That little detail they'll bring up later,
which is classic noir.
Yeah,
that's what it comes from.
Like very subtle things that happen, and that's what I liked about the show the most was the subtlety of the show. Like you said, it's not. It wasn't in your face. Yeah. It wasn't like, look, this is what's happening.
It's not like you have a narrator, like Chief, telling you the story. Like Rust, after they had that altercation, I knew he felt bad about cheating on his wife, and Russ felt bad about fucking his wife. No, it's completely implied.
All those things are implied. They just happen. They just happen, and then we see it, and they talk about it in a sense that the camera's not even there. They're just like, that's how it happened.
And if we don't see it, we see the result of it.
Right.
Which is perfect.
And we make inferences about these things. And
It's a show that assumes that you're not an idiot, which I appreciate.
Yeah, exact. That's exactly
Which is not what Walking Dead does. So
that Walking Dead says...
Let's back away from that.
It's just...
Walking Dead goes, here's the story. This is when you need to be excited.
The music and the tone.
You need to care about these people.
This is when you need to do it.
Please care.
I swear to God, I know who's gonna get it in this season. But that's anyway.
Let's back up because this topic was, what did you not like?
Right, exactly. I wanna jump from that to you guys. What did you guys, if there was anything that you disliked about it?
For me personally. And this is very, after our entire speech about this, very deep concept of the show is kind of stupid sounding, but the visual effects of it really took me out of the show.
Oh yeah, the driving.
Whenever they're in the car, it's very fake looking. It's clearly fake looking. I don't know why they couldn't just get them in a field to drive or something, but that really just took me right out of every scene. Yeah. And not only that, but at the very end, before the very, the very emotional ending of the show.
Yeah,
you see the stars behind Woody Harrelson's head, and it just looks completely like green screen.
Or the oh, I know what you're talking about. There was that, and what about the galaxy when he's in the tunnel and he's looking for
you know what? Wait,
that didn't bother me.
That didn't bother me. That didn't bother me because, and I'll tell you why. Because it was supposed to be like fantastical. It was supposed to be fake. Like
he was the only person who saw it.
Right.
He's hallucinating.
So because of that, I feel like they get a pass because it was not in reality. It's fine that doesn't look real.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like it can look fake because it is fake. I was okay with basically every other part of the show besides that. And it was a thing that kind of screwed me up with Walking Dead, going back to that, unfortunately.
I feel like that's a theme.
Like it is. No, because we're taking a great show and we're shitting on what used to be a great show.
Yeah,
and
that's
where
true.
They failed.
It's
and
true.
Where True Detective succeeded.
Walking Dead is not a bad show in as much as it is just a predictable show now.
No. It's a dumb show.
They're painting it for dumb people. That's how they're. No, I'm not saying the audience
masses,
is dumb.
It's for the masses.
What I'm saying is they're writing it as if we are dumb people.
Oh yeah. And that shows the lack of respect from the writers that are writing this, going, they're not going to get this deep concept.
Because of the pop cultureness of the show has made it so that they're trying to reach as broad of an audience as possible.
They have to make it that simple in order for the people that aren't smart.
And you know
everybody can enjoy it. That's what they're trying to do.
I don't even think it's a dumb person problem. I think it's a distracted person problem. Because people are on their phones.
Exactly.
Looking
one of those shows.
Yeah, but then people don't have half the mind to go back and watch the episode.
Right. David just
said they don't want to.
If he's on his phone watching True Detective, he's going to miss something. If you're on your phone watching Walking Dead, you're not going to miss that much.
But I feel like that wasn't the case in seasons 1 and 2.5.
Yeah, you're right. And then they got into the prison, and then it was...
exactly.
Suspense. Here's zombies.
Yeah, shoot, even in the farm, it was like, okay, we're in the farm, we're going to stay in this farm for a while.
I think season 2...
Let's talk in the farm.
Let's
go to the farm and
after half that season, the second half of The Walking Dead, season 2, is the worst season. Definitely.
After it ended, when he's like, this ain't a democracy.
Well, that kind of gave it a little bit more oomph. When he was like that, I felt like it gave it a little bit more energy where he's like, fuck that. I don't care what you guys think. I run this shit. That's when I was like, okay, fuck yeah. Now we're season 3. We're going to get into some shit.
Got some conflict here.
And it never happened.
Right.
But that finale, when he said that, they're sitting by the campfire and he's like, this ain't no fucking democracy. I run this. This is
He didn't say that because it was AMC, but that's what he meant.
He's like, this isn't a democracy.
Right.
I'm not asking your opinion anymore. I run this.
Right.
Okay. And
I've proven myself as boss,
right?
And therefore, you guys follow me. If you don't like it, hit the road.
I killed my best friend, okay, for you guys, for you, not for me, for you.
So for him.
Well, his motivation. That's how he convinced himself of it. That's what he says. He's like, I did this for you guys. He did it for Lori. That's what he says when she's all up butthurt about him doing it. He's like, I did it for you. You're the one who said that I couldn't protect you guys. That was me protecting you. I did this for you.
I did the hardest thing I could possibly do.
I killed my best friend. For you.
Right.
That's how he justified it. When actuality,
you who cheated on me with my best friend, and I'm pregnant with his baby
in 2 weeks. We still don't really know the time frame. But anyway.
Yeah. So back to my thing was.
I think the best thing that came out of the next season after that was that Carl meme.
Yeah.
No. Carl.
And then
want to hear a joke, Carl?
The dad jokes were so good.
Look up Carl dad jokes.
Coral. And it's just Coral. And the head. But all right.
Okay. Back on topic.
Oh, and Lori died too.
Yeah. Lori's dead.
Spoilers.
Sean's dead.
Anyway.
Shane's dead, not Sean.
Anyway,
I feel like if we give him a spoiler alert, it encompasses everything we say after spoiler alert.
Every single thing that's ever been written. So my main point, with talking about The Walking Dead and True Detective, was that that's what took me out of seasons like 1 and 2. Was like I felt like the story was very strong of Walking Dead, but the visual effects, whenever you see like blood squirt out somebody's neck and it was CG clearly, completely took me out of it. Yeah. Or you know, the gun shooting that were clearly fake and there's no recoil on them.
You know, like I don't like the fact that it's funny you bring that up, because just recently I looked up Rick's gun, the Python.
Yeah.
It's a 2.5 pound gun.
Yeah.
And he lets his 10-year-old son shoot it. No recoil at all.
No, nothing. Nothing.
Fucking Rick shoots that gun like it's a fucking like I mean, it's
a
just
pea
like,
shooter. Like it's a 22.
It's nothing. It's a 2.5 pound gun.
Right.
That, I mean, it's like it's a 357 Magnum. It's huge.
Yeah.
That gun is gigantic.
Yes.
2 pounds, just a gun. That's gigantic, and he shoots it like it's nothing. Just boom, boom.
You see a little flash
every time.
Little flash in the muzzle, and that's it.
It's funny that you bring that up, because it's totally unrealistic in that regard.
You also have to keep in mind, like with story and special effects, that this isn't HBO, this is AMC.
Yeah.
This is cable. This is basic cable. And then with the story, Walking Dead's been on a lot longer and has a lot more episodes in their seasons.
That's true, but the thing is,
season 3 of True Detective could be a piece of shit. We don't know that yet.
No, because HBO has more money than AMC does at this moment.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because True Blood started to go down.
I've heard that. I haven't watched it, but I've heard that.
I started watching True Blood. Spoiler alert. Fairies started showing up.
The storytelling of that is what went downhill, not the visual effects. They had the same visual effects from day one.
Right, okay, yeah.
The thing is, I feel like, well, not even I feel like, I heard the entire stories, I don't know if you guys heard about on The Walking Dead, was the reason that Frank Darabont left was because of money issues. Because he wanted more funding for the show, because he felt like it needed it in order to tell the story correctly. And so he really pushed for it, and they said no.
They were looking at it like he wanted more money. Like he wanted more money.
Right, for himself, when it was for the show.
Creatively, he wanted more money.
They thought that he was asking for too much. He said I needed to really fund this show the way that it needed to be told, and they just basically told him to go screw yourself. So my point is, basically, the two shows had the same weakness as far as that goes, with the CG visual effects that took me out of the story. Now, mind you, the thing that really matters is the storyline for me. So within True Detective, it brought me back. Within Walking Dead, it really it took me out of the story, and it kept me out.
Yeah, you're still kind of... There
wasn't enough to pull me back in, basically. So that was my main gripe with it. I was fine with how the story went. I think it went exactly the way that, they intended it to, and I was completely satisfied with the season.
No, that was the biggest thing.
Introduce it for yourself.
I actually had no other gripes besides that, because for me, like, when they cut to like the driving scenes, it was bad. It was almost comedic.
Yeah,
and it really took me out. Where it was this is really shitty. Like, am I supposed to be taking this seriously?
But everything like surrounding it was so awesome and serious, and like you could take it seriously.
You know what? To be honest with you, I mean, now that you guys mention it, I start to think about it, and I'm like, you know what? That did look like a piece of shit. Yeah. But like when I was watching it, I didn't see it. Right. Not until you guys have pointed it out just now, and now I'm thinking about it, like, it did kind of look like a piece of shit.
That's because like me and him critique the shit out of everything.
That's true.
Yeah. Or I critique.
A very critical eye.
Well, as far as visually, I don't really care about visuals. I mean, unless they're glaring,
Right. Well, to us it was, because it's completely like, it wasn't continuous with the rest of the quality of the show.
I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt as I was watching it, but
like they got the 90s like era down packed. Were they using technology from the 90s to keep it consistent when they shot those car scenes?
Right. What you said just now was true. One weakness in the show was so glaring because the show itself was so good.
Right.
As soon as you find something that you're like, that shit fucking, it stands out because it's like, this show is so good. Come on, what are you doing here? And that's what happened with what I was saying about the subplot that I didn't like, was because I felt like it was a glaring weakness in such a strong TV show.
Right.
Which, I mean, obviously I grew to understand where they were going with it, but when
there's
I
no
first
drawing
watched
to
it,
understand that horrible CG.
Right, exactly, because you can't. Because I mean, if they're not going to give money to that aspect of the show.
Right.
it's always going to be a piece of shit.
And I've heard a lot of people say that this is basically as close as you can get to cinema quality TV. Right?
Disagree.
Well, storytelling wise,
yeah, storytelling wise,
acting,
no doubt about it.
Every other aspect other than
else,
the CG.
Honestly, I feel like those 8 episodes was just a fucking 8-hour movie.
Yeah, and that's how I felt about it too. But the thing is, I feel like that one aspect is what kept it just a little bit lower than a movie would be. Right, like that cinema rating. Quality, true cinema quality.
Yeah, because
kept it out.
And it's not just the TV show and the story, it's also HBO. Like, what other HBO show have you ever seen with bullshit CG like that?
Yeah, that's true. That's not I mean, Game of Thrones. Look at Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
I don't watch it, but I've seen enough to know.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Sopranos, Entourage.
Yeah.
We watched those series. How many shitty car driving scenes did we see?
I can't remember,
because they didn't do that bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if they're gonna do that, if they're gonna go into this huge production to make this great, they're gonna, they got Woody Harrelson, they got fucking Matthew McConaughey, and this awesome story, and they're not gonna pour that money into the CG.
Right.
Like, we had better driving scenes in Entourage, and those had nobody.
That's true.
In the beginning.
But you know what? Let's back up, because Entourage, like you said, didn't have anybody in it really, other than walk-on, cameos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they used the money to pay the actors in this show, and didn't have the money for the CG and After Effects.
But the thing is, they didn't need the CG, because in any driving scene, they just did the camera mount on the car.
Well, then you have to be on location. You figure you only have the actors for so long of a day.
Location where?
In Louisiana.
How is it so difficult for them to shoot in Louisiana and then, hey, let's find an empty road?
I feel like going back to Matthew McConaughey's hot run, I feel like he was filming a lot of the movies that he did
during that same time.
Yeah, during the True Detective.
So
filming.
You think, like, in order to be like, all right, well, Matt and Woody are busy with this bullshit.
They were probably in Hollywood when they filmed a lot of those.
Filming. Catch Me If You Can.
Right.
No, not
Catch Me If You Can. Whoa.
What's the movie where they're all magicians?
What?
Now You See Me.
Now You See Me. Yeah, that's right. Catch Me If You Can.
Has something to do with tricks.
Leo DiCaprio or whatever. Same shit.
Yeah. And Matthew McConaughey had like what, four movies this year? He had Dallas Buyers Club. Yep. He had the TV show. He had Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep.
Magic Mike was recent enough that
it could have interrupted.
Right. The production could have gone through. There's another movie we're forgetting.
Yeah, probably.
He made a cameo in something.
That's for the Googlers to figure out. I mean, these are all obviously just excuses for them, but it was something that
we're giving them the benefit of the doubt here, which they don't deserve because they're HBO. So.
But you know what? This is their first season of the show. Maybe they didn't have complete faith in it.
No. That's what pilots are for.
And they hired 2 of the biggest actors in Hollywood.
Right.
You don't do that unless you have faith in the show. Okay. What happened was, like you said, it was funding. They paid all the money to the two Oscar
actors.
winners.
It's not funding; it's availability. That's what.
Well, yeah, okay, right.
If these guys are busy, then they're going to shoot what
you
they
have to
can.
do is you got to make do with these guys.
Within their contracts, it probably said that if I am filming such and such film or movie,
right? Matthew McConaughey's off winning. Matthew
McConaughey.
He's off winning Oscars somewhere.
Right.
He can't be bothered with driving down Louisiana, man.
That's true.
Okay. Those were the
gripes. These were our gripes, right?
Which, I mean, we spent a long time with gripes, only because of how good the show itself is.
Let's give it the praise it's due now, please.
It is due.
Do we have a favorite detective, Mark or Rust?
Man, that's tough.
That is tough, because I feel like the obvious answer would be to say Cole, just off rip, like he's. But there's a lot of humanity, and there's a lot of relatability to Woody Harrelson's character, and most of the praise is due to Woody Harrelson. I mean, like I said before, like I said at the top of the podcast, I'm a huge fan of Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
I think I can't think of anything that he's done that I dislike as far as what
Rosie
he's done.
Perez.
I like Rosie Perez.
You get it.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. I like that one. Yeah.
But
she's annoying.
Yeah. She's still hot to me.
She stays quiet.
Yeah. But White Man Can't Jump. Great movie.
Marco, it's as big as Mount Vesuvius.
Vesuvius.
We'll take that.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Woody Harrelson as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, based on just like the characters he's played.
Woody Harrelson is the guy that you meet, and he's cool as fuck, and you're friends with him. He offers you a beer. He just talks about you, and you just bullshit with him.
Right.
That's what Woody Harrelson. Right.
And that's who he played in this show too.
Basically, yeah.
Like,
but he played it to a
Hart.
Yeah,
like
Marty.
a guy that you don't think Hart is an approachable.
Marty seems like the coolest dude to hang out with.
I think he's a very approachable person.
Is there a point in the series where he is talking to a male stranger that he knows or he doesn't know? Sorry. Is there a point where he's talking to a male stranger?
I see where you're going with that.
Because so far in this series, well, it won't be next season. But
right.
In this season, he doesn't. He's cool, Mark Hart to attractive women.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. That's what we see. He's smooth and whatever, but that's not how he talks to guys.
But
how he talks to guys is how he talks to Russ.
No. There's the part in, I think it's episode 3, or it could be 2, where he's hanging out with the other cops in the bar and he's telling stories and everybody's laughing.
Right.
And he's entertaining like this group of like 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah.
And that just kind of seems like the kind of guy he is.
He's not the loner because he's the anti-loner.
Right.
He's the one that's the normal, like
family man.
Yeah, he's the normal
said,
dude.
Like one of the quotes that I just read on the wiki was, "If a man don't have a family around this age, something's wrong."
Something's wrong with
exactly.
it.
He's trying to do he's trying to play it by the status quo.
Yeah,
you know?
And he does it for a number of years.
Right.
Like he plays that guy. Like, I've got the family. I'm a cop. I'm running this city. Like he's highly respected. That's established episode 1.
Yeah.
The only reason that Cole is still there is because Hart sticks his neck out for him. That's the only reason that Cole is still there. He's like, look, I vouch for this guy. I believe in him. And the captain is like, look, because you believe in him, that's why he's still here.
And
so,
that's his character trait, though, is that he allows himself to be susceptible to that camaraderie, that brotherhood that he feels for Rust.
Right.
Because if Rust were in that position, I don't think he would stand up for him.
No,
I think he'd go, well, I'm going to stay away.
He would say it in a more realistic terms.
In the most logical term possible. He will make a decision based off of logic.
He's basically Vulcan.
I can say that Rust is my favorite character because of just the way that he thinks, and basically he carried that entire case on his back.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Mark contributed past their reunion, aside from resources, his business or whatever, and shooting the rapist.
He still contributes his resources in the original case too, because Cole wouldn't have been able to do what he did without Hart backing him.
Right.
So as far as the case itself, no, he doesn't contribute. But as far as like getting the case to where it got to, he needed Hart to get to that point.
It's an odd relationship that those two have because I feel like they make a whole good person.
It's like it's like two parasites leeching.
Right, they need something from each other.
The other,
right?
And the other supports.
Exactly, because they're sort of anti each other, but they fit perfectly at the same time.
It's a yin yang.
Yin yang, exactly.
That's the opposite track.
Right. So without each other, without their traits, whether they be good or bad, I feel like they came together to get this thing done.
Because Cole would not have been able to accomplish what he did with the case, and Hart wouldn't have been able to figure it out.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have been able to. He wouldn't know where to go with it. He would have chalked it up to what everybody else chalked it up to, some fucking cycle that they're never going to be able to catch. Open and shut case. Boom. It's done. Just leave it alone.
Remember, Russ went above and beyond the law. Even he
right.
broke into that dude's house to get that tape.
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean, Hart never
do that. Never ever.
Right. He doesn't even have a thought. Exactly. He didn't even have a fucking thought to do that.
Right.
To even break into that house, he wouldn't even.
No.
Right. He was done with it.
In that
he
situation, what I thought was really cool about that is that he broke into more than one house. And he goes, every single one of them was reported except the one that I stole the tape from.
Yep.
And that was very cool.
Another one of those things that if you weren't paying attention, you might have missed it. Like, okay, wait. Whose house did he break into?
Right.
Like, how many houses did he break into?
If nobody caught that, they would have been like, how come nobody called the cops?
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge detail, and yet it's just kind of like thrown in there. He's just talking about it, and just there's a huge nugget of the story itself just thrown into what he's talking about.
Which is awesome because it also expands Russ' character into not only is he a detective and a former cop, but he also can think like a criminal.
Right.
Yeah.
And cover his tracks and then make sure, like he covers his tracks and then checks back.
Right.
To see if any police reports were filed on the break-ins. Right.
And he's willing to do that. That willingness is what separates him from anybody else.
All that kind of harkens back to the visual effects thing that I forgot that I wanted to bring up was episode 4, the one-shot drug bust.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It was so great,
very good.
And I the reason I bring it up now is because you guys were talking about that was what you didn't like about the show was the visual effects,
right?
And yet they showed that they know what to do with it. They just didn't do it.
Awesome.
Yeah. The one take drug bust gone wrong. It was perfect.
Right. It wasn't a drug bust. It was a robbery.
Right. I'm sorry. You're right. It was a robbery. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because he went undercover. Right. And they robbed the guys in the hood.
Uh-huh.
So right. It was the drug robbery basically, but it was perfect. That one take. Just him going through house to house, people getting shot, all this stuff is happening in the background.
And just fucking Mark just.
I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And that shows you the potential that this show still has.
Right.
And if they keep and what they're saying is like they're gonna continue with the show with different actors, different cases, blah blah blah. That shows you the potential of the show, like where they could go. Because this season was kind of like the bottom, Even if the quality was so high, it's a
test run,
things.
Really,
because I mean, honestly, like the way that the case was, it's kind of like it's a generic case in this kind of series, like
in that universe,
like,
right?
There's a psychopath killing children,
Right.
What's up with that? And then they find out. So there's a bunch of other possibilities that they could take this.
There's so many different directions. And the universe that they've established, the next season, we have to get out of our minds what Matthew McConaughey did for Cole.
Right.
We have to forget that, because the next detectives that they use, they're not going to be here's the smart guy and here's the
they can't replicate that same relationship.
Exactly. So we have to right now, since we've already watched the entire season, we have to get it out of our minds, like. The next detectives.
Have they announced?
No, they haven't talked about.
Let's cast it. Let's cast it. Let's wrap it up and cast it right
Okay,
now.
all right. First,
2 detectives.
I really like setting it in Detroit. First of all, first and foremost, I like watching a crumbling city. Recent, not very recent, but recent enough.
I say 95 Detroit in the winter.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, okay. But 95 is close to where True Detective, the first season, starts.
I know. I say that because I want
you want some kind of continuity.
Yeah. Like, let's start with the case that was shut. These guys are going to open it back up again.
Oh, that's cool if they did that. If that's the format of the show, that'd be kind of cool.
It doesn't necessarily have to be like, all right, this guy's really persistent and really thinks. It could be like, all right, well, there was a murder in 95 and a murder in 2014 that had the same elements.
Right,
this one killer has the same signature and it was in the same murders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to open it back up. As far as actors go,
we're talking about Detroit cops.
We're talking Detroit cops.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker
with his lazy eye.
Okay, Forrest Whitaker, not a detective, the chief. Okay. He's the guy that they report to.
I can see him as a chief.
The guy that they have to report to.
I can see him as a chief. Yeah.
I say Mark Ruffalo.
I like Mark Ruffalo in literally anything. So yes, if you say Mark Ruffalo,
put him in a pie. It's fine. Whatever.
I don't care. So I will go with that. But yeah, no, that's still cool.
I can see Mark Ruffalo very cop-like.
Yeah, he could. Okay. I'm surprised that he hasn't played more cops.
And I want Nathan
Fillion.
Nathan Fillion? What? You going?
Nice.
Like where you going with Castle, and I want him in True Detective.
Yeah, I like that.
I
like that. That's pretty cool.
You like that? Can you imagine that banter between them?
I could see that. I could see the
in Detroit.
Well, okay. I don't know about in Detroit because there's Nathan Fillion especially is too clever and too, I guess, happy-go-lucky almost. That
you think so?
I do.
You don't think he can pull off like a?
I think he brings a positivity to anything that he does. Everything that I've seen him so far, even in like Firefly, he brought this like
upbeatness to
Just
it.
like
Even when he was angry, it just kind of was like...
No, but the thing is, he has these very...
You're right. He has that very much like leader.
Right,
persona
exactly.
Where, like,
It's
everything's gonna be okay.
I got this. I got this.
But
like,
he does have very good sort of dramatic moments in those. Dramatic beats within those series. You know, in the series and in the movie, too, Serenity. He has very dramatic... You haven't seen... Okay. We'll catch you up to that. We'll catch you both up to that. But yeah, he has very good dramatic moments. I think he can pull it off.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't shown it yet.
Now, okay, I'll say this because I mean, I feel like I have to say it. I guess 2 white cops again in Detroit. Do you think like that would make sense?
You're right.
I mean, I feel like, you know,
I know what you're saying. I see the pigeonhole of the series. Yeah. So who else?
I mean,
Ice-T.
Oh God.
Ice-T, Ice Cube.
Whoa.
True Detective.
Comedy gold.
The guy who just starred in 12 Years a Slave, Chiwetel.
You report.
You would tell.
All right. If we're gonna cast a black dude, Don Cheadle. Mark Ruffalo.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now you've got 2 great guys. Now you've got racial banter going back and forth. Yeah.
I hate that. No,
you don't like that?
I don't want the racial banter.
You don't like the this is what black guys.
No.
This is what white guys.
Why don't it be like
white people be like
black people
be like.
No.
Look up the guy's last name. I need to know his last name.
Chiwetel?
Ejiofor. Ejiofor?
Ejiofor?
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
I think it's Ejiofor.
Ejiofor.
We'll look it up.
I love that a portion of this podcast is just how do you
pronunciation
pronounce this guy's name? Chiwetel Ejiofor. I like him, and I think that he would be really good in the show. Him, Michael Ealy has proven that he can do the you know who I'm talking about? Michael Ealy?
No.
Okay.
Is that Vic Mackey?
Who? What?
Vic Mackey?
Vic Mackey?
Shield?
Yeah, bald dude. He was the Thing in Fantastic Four.
No.
I want Vic Mackey and that dude from Low Winter
Michael
Sun.
Ealy's the black guy. There you go. That's it.
Andy Garcia bald.
Michael Ealy's a black dude. He's in Barbershop. He's in Think Like a Man. He's a talented actor. I'm trying to think of like a good big thing that he's done, which is kind of hard because
the green eyes.
Yes, that guy. That sexy motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that sexy motherfucker. Wait. I know who you're talking about.
Light skin dude.
Yeah.
He's
Michael
got kind
Ealy.
Of the twist.
Yeah. That guy.
Nice. He's a handsome motherfucker.
That is a handsome motherfucker, and I feel like his potential is still untapped. I feel like that guy's gonna do a movie where people go.
You're probably right. He's probably an amazing actor, but you know what? He keeps doing these shitty.
Yeah, you're right. That's what happened with Chiwetel Ejiofor. He kept doing these kind of like side roles, these little bits, and you're like, I could see something in that guy, but what? I don't care. And then he did 12 Years a Slave.
Segue. He's in Serenity.
I did not know
he's the main bad guy in Serenity.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
I can see people watching Serenity and going, there's more to this guy.
Yeah.
He's talented. And that's how I feel about Michael Ealy. Michael Ealy, I feel like there is more to him. One day he's going to get offered a role where people are finally going to understand Michael B. Jordan. He's too young, but I feel like he could be like a rookie cop on the case.
Yeah, I was actually going to call him for one of my actors.
Yeah.
He can't be a rookie cop on a detective case.
Yeah, he could be
he needs to be a little bit older to be a rookie detective.
I mean, I don't know, what is he, like 24?
Probably.
I mean, you could be. I mean, how old do you have to? You only have to be 18 to enter the police. I don't know. We need to. Those are facts we need to look up on how old you need to be to get in the detective.
But why do we need?
Detective?
Okay, I was gonna say, why do we need a detective? Because
the show's called.
Well, hold on.
Right.
Hear me out. Hear
me out. Michael J. White.
Okay.
Eugene Levy.
With his caterpillar eyebrows.
American Detective.
A lot of kung fu.
True pie.
Oh God.
But okay. I feel like to kind of to bring it all back to next season. We're I mean, this is pure speculation at this point. But if we're casting it. The setting is Detroit, 1995, wintertime.
Okay. Well, no. You have your own setting too.
Yeah, you have your setting.
You give your own setting.
My setting is Detroit.
Yeah, dude.
2000.
Each setting could have different actors.
Yeah,
this
right,
guy could be like, I want Eddie Murphy from Beverly Hills Cops to be in my
in LA.
I'm seeing Detroit now. Detroit filing for bankruptcy because Detroit is still a piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
I was just reading an article about this guy. He's an investigative reporter he lives in Detroit and he's there when all these like crazy shit happens. Like I was reading this article about a girl who got shot and the cops didn't show up for 45 minutes. Like she got shot and she was fucking just basically laying there waiting for the cops to show up. And then finally they were like, let's just take her because they're not showing up.
Yeah.
So they took her to the hospital. I mean, she survived, but it was like,
amazing.
Where the fuck were they?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's how Detroit is. I have family who still lives in Detroit and they have to deal with shit like that.
Detroit and Chicago are both like fucking
Chicago is another
up.
Great setting for this show.
Right.
Chicago would be amazing.
It's gotten some praise from Batman recently.
You can't have Michael B. Jordan in a Chicago True Detective, so that's just confusing.
It's just confusing.
But fertile ground for people to shoot in. Like I feel like those are good options.
It's just confusing. Okay, but I like Detroit. I like the setting of Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit now.
Right.
Present day Detroit. The city is filed for bankruptcy. It's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's more abandoned buildings than there are people living there at this point.
RoboCop.
I like Michael Ealy. I like Michael Ealy, Forrest Whitaker, because I envision like a police force filled with black cops. That's how I see it. That's how I see Detroit. It just makes more sense to me.
It makes sense for a chief to be like, all right, we need more of the people's person out there.
I mean, why would you want a guy like Mark Ruffalo walking through a black neighborhood? Like obviously he'd be a great detective, but exactly, like nobody's gonna look at him like that's the guy we need to call. Like if Michael Ealy walks through your neighborhood, you're like, I'm gonna call that fucking guy. I need him to have my back. Michael Ealy, Don Cheadle together. Don Cheadle's the senior detective. Michael Ealy better than Michael B. Jordan. Because Michael B. Jordan's a little too young looking.
Yeah.
Michael Ealy still looks young, but he also looks like old enough to have passed any detective test. He just gets on the case. Don Cheadle's been going through this. I feel like a different dichotomy. You don't want the guy who's too smart for everyone in the building. You want two relatable guys, but there has to be some kind of darkness between both of them. But I think that could work. Michael Ealy and Don Cheadle.
What if we throw in Michael B. Jordan as the up and coming cop?
So you want it to be a trio?
No. Well,
or
take the guy sitting in the back seat.
Hey, you know what?
Annoying the shit out of the two guys in the front seat.
Hey guys.
No,
singing.
You know what? You know what?
Boom, 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 boom.
Shut up. You know what? Who says it needs to be two detectives? We only know that because of this season. What if it's two detectives that are schooling a young dude that's up and coming that becomes a detective by the end of the season?
Well,
it could be.
I thought it was one detective brings one
under his wing.
Right.
Under his wing.
And that's how they do partnerships as far as cops go.
Okay. But you have two detectives that are partners.
I read it in a book.
You have two detectives that are partners, and then you may have one that's an up and coming that isn't a detective.
Yeah, but
yet.
Does he sit in the back with the perps?
No, he doesn't. He's in his own thing, and maybe he helps them figure out this case, and that's what propels him into becoming a detective.
Maybe he's like really a part of the case, and you only learn that until a couple episodes in that he's he has more to do with the case than we originally
meets the
thought.
eye.
Right.
We're thinking too much about it.
Too fucking far.
Let's cast it, okay? That's my cast. I'm still sticking with Michael Ealy and Don Cheadle.
Okay.
Boom, those are my detectives.
So,
Detroit,
present day, Michael Ealy, Don Cheadle, True Detective Season 2.
For me, I want to say Miami, Florida.
Ooh,
1984.
Okay.
I'm going to go with...
I don't think it's already.
No?
I'm going to go
with
it. Josh Brolin and Don Johnson.
No, okay, look. But Don Johnson's not
Stop
bad.
making this a joke.
Because Don Johnson...
I'm not.
I mean, Don Johnson's not bad. It's decent. I could see Don Johnson. I could, literally. I'm not joking.
I don't know why. I don't know why he's taking it as a joke.
Maybe
only because, okay, the only reason that he takes it as a joke is because that's how casual audiences will take it. Miami, 80s, Don Johnson.
But
That's how they're going to look at it.
Let me tell you how I'm going to flip this on its head, okay?
Flip it on its head.
Because
this guy,
Don Johnson, yes.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin will be the sort of the Don Johnson of Miami Vice that we know and love.
Okay.
Right? His sort of character of the currently hot detective that's going out there trying to catch all the cases. Whereas Don Johnson is playing an older, more grizzled sort of character, a detective that has seen more than Josh Brolin has. You see? And
I mean, what did you just do? Did you just take Miami Vice and add a character?
No. What I did was I
look.
took Don Johnson and made him, since current day he's not in his 20s, clearly.
But what I'm going to say is Josh Brolin is in his 40s. So he's kind of old too.
Right.
He can't play the younger cop to Don Johnson. You know?
I suppose.
Because Don Johnson he's only in his like late 50s, early 60s. So he can't be the young. And Josh Brolin looks old. It's not like he has a young look to him. He looks old.
Yeah, and you said he had a beard and mullet.
The only thing that I was trying to do with
acknowledge me.
The only thing I was trying to do with that casting was that I wanted to put Miami Vice on its head, where you expect Don Johnson to be the character that he was in Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Where he's not. He's not that character, but there's another character playing sort of that character that he was. See? So I think that would be a cool dichotomy of having a Don Johnson-esque character in Miami Vice, but not being him. And him being, maybe he can be the chief, for that matter. He's an old enough dude to be the chief. So we can get a younger actor to be the foil to Josh Brolin.
You know, what I was saying.
Seth Rogen, Michael Cera, 2024.
They're both fat.
Orlando.
Seth Rogen is fatter.
Throw in Titans.
Michael Cera is fat. He's fat Canadian.
Titan detectives.
There's robots.
Still got that like weird rapist mustache.
He's
30-something.
He's still doing coke.
Doing a lot, like a mountain of coke.
Slapping Rihanna's ass.
That maybe is what we need, is a cop with like a serious drug
Drinking
addiction.
Capri Suns.
I mean, Cole's drug addiction was you know.
It was serious, but he kept it under wraps.
Right. He kept.
That's what it was.
He controlled it. He knew what he was doing with it. We need a guy who's fucking unhinged. We need a guy who's fucking doing coke and then jumps in the fucking driver's side. He's like,
talking about when he went under?
Yeah, when he went back under.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Anyway. Let's say, you really didn't like that. Sniff my fucking finger.
That's
bro.
my complaint. That stupid ass scene, just like, you'll like it.
But I think, I don't know. I mean, it seemed realistic.
It wasn't even that. It was like this.
It seemed,
if your boy gave you a bump of coke
and
was like, here, do it off my hand.
Because he wasn't his boy though. He was like, this was a guy that they worked with before, and he was like, I don't fucking trust you until you take this bump off my hand. Like, he's not gonna let him do what he wants with it.
No. You take a knife. You put the cocaine on the knife, and then you go, here. You hand him the knife.
Nah. These are dirty bikers,
You don't do it off your hand.
These are disgusting bikers.
That's weird,
and
I don't understand how that builds trust.
There's a little homoeroticism to that.
The entire show is a little homoerotic.
It was a little,
like it's like I said before. It's about two dudes, like they're sort of love with each other.
I want to put a bow and a ribbon, a cute little ribbon on this.
You know what? Let's put the bow on it by talking about the finale. How do we feel about how it?
Yeah, because we need to talk. Yeah, that's good. Okay,
that.
right. That's a good start.
I think if the show was shorter, that finale would have sucked. Because there's no way that you can introduce a main antagonist in the last 10 minutes of an episode and then explain them in the next episode.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. If it was like if they had done it like 5 episodes or something and then decided like we'll take a break after this, it would have been a cheap. Honestly, I still kind of feel it was a little cheap. They didn't even really touch on it was Tuttle, right? He was one of the. He was a Tuttle family member. He was,
right.
They don't really even talk about him that much. I mean, obviously they know what direction they're going in with all the evidence that they're mounting and everything. But we only see him in episode 7. That's the first time we see him.
Yeah,
it's episode 7. We see him, or do we see him
again?
We see him mowing the lawn.
We see him way early
at the end.
Right.
We see him way
Russ
early.
said, "I saw him. I've seen him before.
Right.
And you just let him go.
Okay, see, what I like is TV shows. I like TV shows. I like movies. I like music. Anything that, if you're going with a twist, I like to know that if I was paying attention more, I could have figured it out. Mm-hmm. That's what I like about twists. Good twists. If something pops up and it's like, if I were, like, I feel like that's how The Sixth Sense is. If you're paying attention to that movie, you could figure that out.
You could infer that's what it was.
That's what I think. That movie's good enough that, like, if you're thinking about it, if you're going in going, I don't
trust everything.
I don't know, and you can figure that out.
It's the unreliable narrator, and that's what that's called.
Exactly. Yeah. I like those kind of twists. I don't like the twist where it's like, well, there's no way I could have figured that out until you put that on my plate.
Right.
I couldn't figure
it was all a dream.
Right. Exactly. And that's how I kind of felt like True Detective was. Even if they showed him before, there's no way we could have connected those dots.
Yeah.
You know?
That was sort of cheap, but at the same time...
Exactly. The finale was a little cheap because I felt like it wrapped everything up in a nice little bow.
Yeah.
You know, no one died.
Yeah.
Except for who needed to die.
Right.
Was the guy who they were chasing the whole time.
Cole got stabbed the shit out.
Real bad.
I thought that was it. I thought that's the way they were going to end it.
Yeah, I was like, Cole's dead.
Once they cut to the knife and going through him,
humongous gash. And like he pulls the knife out, and you're like, all right, well maybe it's not that big of a knife. No, it's like a 6-inch knife.
It just keeps going, and then blood. And you're just like, all right, well Cole's dead. That's the end of that.
That was it.
Cole's gonna die.
But I mean, even in the hospital, like after surgery.
Yeah,
they're like, all right, well, he made it to the hospital. Right. But they don't really explain how the cops found him that far out.
I still honestly that kind of bothered me because he's yelling and he's like, "We're fucking here, we're here." And it's like, how do we know?
Let me give you the devil's advocate for that. He called the cops early enough, and they were already searching the area by the time that he was stabbed.
And it's not. So, I mean, it wasn't hard to get to where they were. I mean, they both.
It was on their property.
There was a trail.
Right, exactly. Right. So eventually they could have found him, but could they found him in time? That was a disgusting stab, man.
That was a retarded stab.
That stab
really
was
bad.
Like Hart could have survived. All he did was get hit with the backside of a hammer. That's fine. But
it was an axe, but
was it? It was a hatchet. It was a hatchet. Yeah,
a little hatchet.
But he got hit with it, and it was like whatever. Ow, that hurts a lot. But I mean, come on. The guy got stabbed.
Hey, how fast does he have to throw an axe or a pick at you?
Honestly, I didn't like
see
that.
It.
I didn't like that because he had the drop on him. He fired like 6 times, and he still had enough time to throw a fucking hatchet at him.
Okay, and that's part of the noir structure is that you have 2 outs for your story. Yeah. Where you have 2 exceptions to sort of reality, where you go, that probably wouldn't have happened in real life.
Yeah.
That was really a strange occurrence. You can say that twice.
Yeah.
After that, it becomes unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's the rule within noir that I think they sort of abided to with the 2 of them surviving.
In that case, then they violated 3 of those because you go, all right, Cole should be dead, or Cole should be dead. Hart should have seen him throw that, or Hart should have downed him. And then what the hell was that Russ saw before he got stabbed?
No, because
the
Russ thing, right before they went into that entire chase, he was in the car and he said, I still see those things.
Right. They do that on purpose. They establish that he still sees visions. And then when he has a vision, you're like, okay, well, they told us, they kind of established.
And he was getting like into the trail, like he was seeing all these things and hearing the voices, and like he was getting really into it. And once he got into that giant, sphere or whatever it was, he really like got sucked into it. And I feel like
I wish they would have elaborated on why he saw a universe, as opposed to seeing anything else as opposed to anything else that he could have seen. Why he saw the darkness, the vastness and the darkness of space. Like, why was that the vision?
Yeah.
As opposed to, like,
it wasn't like what was in front of him resembled it.
Like, right, exactly. Like, why did he see that? I wish they would have kind of elaborated on that a little bit.
I think that's okay in my book because it gives you enough to kind of infer as a participant of this story.
I don't think so because like there needs to be some explanation because we see a universe. Then Cole starts talking and he starts saying that he saw his daughter and then he felt her love and
that I feel like that was their way of trying to explain that, but that only happened after.
Yeah. That wasn't him. That's not what he saw. That's not what he saw when we see that universe.
Is that what he was feeling when he was dying?
Yeah, that's when he was dying.
So what was the point of the universe then?
The universe was him getting...
when he was in the hospital, he was already... That's when he started feeling his...
He was basically dead.
His daughter.
Yeah, he was basically dead at that point.
Yeah.
And he came to after that.
It wasn't when he got stabbed.
It wasn't when he got stabbed.
Already in the hospital when he was going to die.
Right, he was in a coma. They explained he was in a coma.
Exactly, and he was going to let go.
So
he had let go.
When he saw that universe, it was just him kind of tripping out because he was so enthralled with what that crazy dude, that serial killer, was concocting in that rat hole or whatever he made.
It kind of gave him that
rush. For the record, that setting, that scenery, that set that they had made was amazing.
Oh, I was tense the entire time.
Another example of the potential of the show as opposed to what they did with the show.
There was so much detail in that.
Yeah.
The set design was great.
Yeah.
Like, just that, like, he's walking by and they find, like, a pile of abandoned, like, play dolls.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, all those little girls that they brought here, those are their dolls.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like,
there's like little kids' shoes.
It's not like a girl's going to bring, like, a whole handful of dolls. Right. It's one doll per girl in this huge pile. Yeah. And then they had the pile of clothes, and the shoestrings tied together, hanging off
the garbage bags.
Yeah, man.
If somebody could look up the actor who plays Tuttle, because he, I feel like, was criminally underutilized. Yeah. When you see what he did in the only episode that he got,
the full episode.
You see what he does with that.
Yeah,
he was criminally underutilized.
Different accents.
They could have. Yeah, I mean, the guy rocked it. Yeah. Like, that guy could have. If they have done something more like a parallel universe, like this is what they're doing, this is what the two detectives are doing, this is what Tuttle has been doing this whole time.
Right.
I think that would have been incredible, seeing him kidnapping girls and obviously don't show us all that other. I don't want to see that shit, but I don't want to see shit like that. But alluding to what he has been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I think they could have focused on him a lot more because they picked an actor who
had the chops for it.
Yeah, he did really well.
And like, it was just like the scenes that he was in with that woman before anything goes down were just like unnerving and really. He's talking like he gets her off basically by talking about incest.
Yeah,
and it's just disgusting.
Right,
and, like
it's just it's so gross and the dog. Fucking the dog, exactly. And just, I mean, everything about it just set that tone so well. Man, the what they could have done with that, the potential of that. So that, I mean, that guy was very underutilized. But even in the one episode that he got to kind of show and to kind of give us an image of the guy that they've been chasing, because the reason I feel like he's underutilized, other than the fact that the actor was so good, was the fact that for 8 episodes, they've been chasing one guy. Right. I mean, obviously, they didn't figure it out until episode 4. It was like, okay, there's somebody still out there. But was the fact that they were chasing one guy. So introduce that one guy and say, like, this is... I mean, because in the show itself, they don't introduce him till the last episode. So there was no real mystery, until they figured it out.
Right.
I feel like they could have shown us who we're looking for, and then that would have made their search all the more interesting because he's right under their nose. This is him right there. Look at him. He's mowing the fucking lawn. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's like right under their nose. Like
the predator in plain sight.
Right, exactly. Right. I think that could have made it more suspenseful. Could have made it more exciting.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. The thing is, I feel like in the end, it really didn't matter. Because it was the story of those two detectives.
And,
like at the very end.
At the end, that's what you get from it. It's like, here's all this craziness, but at the end of the day, this series was about these two guys.
Right.
That's what it was about. It wasn't about the setting. It wasn't about the bayou. It wasn't about these crazy. It was about
pieces of those things, but really the main subject was those
all those
detectives.
Things fall into who these guys are, what it made them. And who they became because of these cases. Right. But it wasn't about the cases, it was about them.
They touch on it really perfectly at the end where Rust goes, this guy's still out there. The guy that started all this is still out there. Yeah. We didn't get them all.
Right. And he's still focused on the missing pieces and what he left behind.
And then
find him.
And then Marty goes, well, we got our guy. That's
we're not going
to get everybody. We got our guy.
Right.
Be happy with that, basically.
Right. That kind of shows you, even in the end, it still shows you the thought process between these two guys. Marty is still looking at it like this is the job. Like, we found the guy who killed those.
Full.
Right, exactly. Look, this is what we got. Those guys. This is what we were looking for. And boom, case over. And Cole's looking at it like, no, there's
so much bad in the world.
We need
to
end this.
It has to do with the kind of character they established to be in the beginning,
right?
To be a conscious thinker and know what's around.
But in any good story, the characters change. They have an arc. Yeah. So you see in Rust, he changes from being possibly an atheist and being this guy that's very glass half empty to having some sort of hope, some semblance of hope. And it's all the entire show in an umbrella term is light versus dark.
Yeah.
That's all it's all about.
Yeah, right.
Which is what they touched on in the very last episode, which I really like. I'm a sucker for that kind of storytelling. I love light versus dark, where light ends up winning.
Yeah.
But there's been so much struggle in between that. I really enjoyed the fact that we saw that character change, specifically within Rust. In particular, I feel like he's the one character that changed the most throughout the entire series.
I think he had to.
Yeah,
because he
wanted to die.
He doesn't fit in.
He wanted to die within that series because of his daughter. Like, he had nothing left, really. So he just kept going to try to get these bad guys. But I feel like it would have been so easy for him to let go, and he did when he was dying there. Yeah. But the fact that he wasn't allowed that easy way out, I feel like it's such a strong statement, Like, he has to keep going on.
Now, I propose this question to you guys. Because this is how I kind of felt a little bit in the end when he talks about feeling his daughter,
right?
Feeling his dad.
Yeah.
He's basically talking about heaven. He's talking about an afterlife. He's feeling their presence.
Right.
Do you feel like that was a little cheap as far as religion goes?
I'm glad that you brought that up, actually, because a lot of people have that issue with the show where there was a lot of proponents of atheism that were following the show that felt like, finally we have a voice of this, atheist character that's, telling
an intelligent
telling
guy
these people
who, he's not a dick. Oh, he's kind of a dick.
He's kind of a dickhead.
But he was an intelligent person,
right?
And he made good points,
right?
He wasn't belligerent about his beliefs. I mean, he stated them in logical terms,
as he felt true,
right?
And he felt like a very true character,
right?
Which was part of the interest I had in the show to begin with.
Yeah. And then in the very end, when his faith was tested or his lack of faith was tested, at the end it goes, well, maybe there's something out there.
But the thing is, I feel like I see what you're saying, and I've heard the argument of that. But
that argument has to be as present in this conversation as it is in every other conversation, because the way that they talk about it, it's not like they're in just a room.
Right.
They're outside at night looking at the stars, talking about heaven.
Right.
Stars in their background.
Yeah.
Right. He's not talking about bullshit. He's talking about something that he really
truly felt.
He ain't talking about practice.
He talking about practice. He talking about the game.
The game.
The game.
Talking about practice. But yeah, no, I didn't have any qualm with that, because if you want to keep that route of him being an atheist and continue to be an atheist, that's fine, because with him being an atheist, you can keep that thought process going.
Yeah.
Because if you really want to dig deep, you can say, oh, it was just him being lucid within his dreams of being in a coma, and say it was all just in his head, really.
Yeah.
But that does not take away the fact that he felt those things.
Right.
Which is the most touching thing in the show, I felt, was that he really, truly felt these things, whether they were real or not.
Yeah.
Whether he really went to the afterlife or there is nothing after that. He really felt these things, and that alone is going to keep him going in life.
Right. I mean, that kind of begs the question, how do people define the afterlife, and how, obviously we'll never know.
Right. Well, we will eventually.
Eventually we'll know, but we won't be able to tell anybody about it. But it's just, I mean, he is what feels like not a lifelong atheist, but, long enough.
He's been hurt so hard with his faith that I feel like he has no option other than to be an atheist.
Right.
From what he's seen and experienced himself.
And then when he finally gets a chance to, I guess, answer some of those questions for himself, it kind of feels like, I don't know, I just kind of feel like a cop-out maybe. Just maybe. here's a guy who has been established.
Like, I get what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
It's like he's established. Like he's completely logic. He's Spock of New Orleans in '95. You know.
Right.
And then he has this life altering event, and then all of a sudden he sees heaven and he sees his daughter, and just knowing like his daughter passed away like years ago and he's still hurt from it.
Yeah.
They play on your emotions by doing that. Like, all right, this guy, he saw his daughter. He saw his daughter when he died.
Right.
There's got to be a heaven out there.
Right.
He now believes.
The guy who doesn't, he's against it.
Wait. Let me pause you there, because he never says that he saw his daughter. He said he felt her.
Yeah.
He feels her. He felt like he was part of the universe, of everything. He never said he saw anything, and I think that was very, very careful writing.
Right. That doesn't really harp on or touch on religion itself.
No, not at all. He didn't see clouds. He didn't see God.
A oneness with the universe. That's what it's
he felt the energy of things, and like for the person that
kind of clarification kind of removes the religion part.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that sort of, even if it's a cop out, like you say, it's cleverly done enough that you can give the argument that he wasn't in heaven. He was just delirious.
There's
because
multiple
he
ways
was
to think. Yeah. That's the kind of writing it is.
Right, and that's the brilliance of it. Is the ambiguity of it.
Right. There's no definitive answer as far as what he saw and what he felt.
But just on first watch, that's what jumped out at me. Like, the more I thought about it, the more I came to that ambiguous conclusion.
Answer.
But the first time I watched it, I felt it was a little cheap. The more I thought about it, I kind of, okay, there's more to it. And then what you guys have been talking about, I kind of thought about a little bit. You've elaborated on a little bit more. But the first time I watched it, I was like, I feel a little dirty off of that. I feel a little cheap. I feel a little dirty from that. I feel like it was kind of obvious. But as far as the show itself, what would you rate it out of 10?
Me, personally, probably 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
David?
8.75.
8.75. That's I like that. I would give it
specific.
8.75. I would give it. I'd give it a.
It's because for me it's like somewhere in between. Like, I don't want to give it a 9 because that's really good, but that CG really pissed me off. Yeah. And the cocaine scene.
I mean, I'd have to give it. I'd have to give it a 9. I'd give it a 9. I'd give it a 9 just because of just understanding the show more. I don't know though. I feel like there's so much room to grow.
And that's the brilliance of it, because it gives you that feeling of there's so much more to tell in this.
But that story won't grow. We won't know what happened.
That story won't.
If we give it a 9, that's like kind of setting the bar here, and it's like, how else can they? But they did that to themselves.
I want to give that to them, to give them that challenge of reaching that height again. That's what I want.
So
there's room for improvement, but I feel like it was a great show.
To conclude this incredible show, there are flaws, as there are with any show. Even show, I feel like Breaking Bad is a perfect show, but there are still things that we could talk about that are flaws.
We can nitpick on any show.
We can nitpick on any show, exactly. But True Detective is close to near perfect. Great first season, great launching pad, great start.
I think we're all excited to see what comes next.
Yes, there's so much potential that has been Nick, the writer, creator, and director of all the episodes. It was the same director the entire time. But those two guys, they created a universe that has so much potential and so many places that it can go. We're all really excited. I think we touched on a lot of things.
You know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should watch like the first season of Big Bang Theory.
Why should we do that?
To see if there's any like continuity in it, if there's actually a story between these characters, to tear apart the director, the writer.
You know what? We should do that. We should fucking watch one of these shows that we have downed for a long time.
Yeah.
And then talk about them and see if like maybe they change our opinion.
Some sort of saving grace.
There's something about it. We'll talk about that at a later date.
Yeah, join us. Join us next time where we tear apart Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory.
You guys have fun with that. I'm not joining that.
As far as today's episode, this was the True Detective spoiler-filled extravaganza special edition. Thank you guys for listening. We love you all. This was the One Beer In Podcast. David?
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys.